Welcome to Trend Nightmare, your ultimate destination for spine-chilling tales and unsettling true stories. Dive deep into the dark corners of reality where the ordinary becomes horrifying. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that will keep you up at night. Now, let's step into the nightmare. Story 1, the doctor never warned her. The mysterious symptoms. When Emily first noticed the slight tremors in her hands, she dismissed them as nothing more than stress from her demanding job as an editor. Her life was a whirlwind of deadlines and late-night caffeine binges, and she figured her body was simply rebelling against the constant pressure. But as the weeks went on, the tremors worsened, spreading from her hands to her arms and legs. Then came the headaches, blinding pain that would strike without warning, leaving her disoriented and nauseous. Concerned, Emily scheduled an appointment with Dr. Lewis, a highly regarded neurologist. Dr. Lewis was a calm, middle-aged man with a reassuring demeanor. After a thorough examination and a battery of tests, he told her that she was perfectly healthy. It's probably just stress, he said with a smile. Try to relax and take it easy for a while. Relieved but still plagued by symptoms, Emily followed his advice. She took a leave of absence from work, started meditating, and even joined a yoga class. But nothing seemed to help. The tremors became more violent, and she began experiencing vivid, terrifying nightmares. In these dreams, she was always being chased by something she couldn't see, but could feel the presence was dark and menacing. Desperate for answers, Emily sought out alternative treatments, including acupuncture and herbal remedies. She even visited a psychic who told her that she was being haunted by a malevolent spirit. While Emily didn't believe in the supernatural, her worsening condition made her question everything. One night, after another debilitating headache, Emily blacked out and woke up in the hospital. Her parents, who lived in another state, rushed to be by her side. They were furious with Dr. Lewis and demanded an explanation. The doctor was equally puzzled and ordered more tests. This time, they discovered something they had missed before, a small, shadowy mass at the base of Emily's brain. Dr. Lewis assured Emily and her parents that it was probably benign, but recommended surgery to remove it. The operation was scheduled for the following week. In the meantime, Emily's symptoms reached a terrifying peak. She began hearing voices, whispers that seemed to come from inside her own head. They were incoherent at first, but gradually became clearer, telling her to do horrible things to hurt herself and others. The night before the surgery, Emily had the most vivid nightmare yet. She was lying on an operating table, surrounded by shadowy figures. They were speaking in a language she didn't understand, but their tone was sinister. One of them leaned over her and whispered in her ear. He knew. She woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. Her parents rushed in to comfort her, but she couldn't shake the feeling of dread. The surgery went ahead as planned, and the doctor successfully removed the mass. When Emily regained consciousness, Dr. Lewis was there, looking relieved. "It went well," he said. "You should start feeling better soon." For a while, it seemed like he was right. The tremors and headaches subsided and the voices stopped. But as she recovered, Emily began to notice something strange. She felt different, as if a part of her was missing. Her emotions were dulled, and she had trouble connecting with people. It was as if the surgery had taken something vital from her. Months later, she stumbled upon an old article about Dr. Lewis. It detailed a malpractice lawsuit filed by a patient who claimed that the doctor had misdiagnosed her condition. The case was settled out of court, and the details were sealed. But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. She contacted the patient, who reluctantly agreed to meet. The woman named Karen told Emily a chilling tale. She had experienced similar symptoms, tremors, headaches, and nightmares. Dr. Lewis had assured her it was nothing serious, but her condition worsened. By the time they discovered the mass in her brain, it was too late. The surgery had left her permanently impaired. Emily realized with a sinking heart that the doctor had known all along. He had downplayed her symptoms and delayed the necessary tests, perhaps out of fear of another lawsuit. But what haunted her most was the thought that the mass had somehow changed her, that the surgery had not just removed a part of her brain, but a part of her soul. Emily's life would never be the same. She had survived the ordeal, but the person she once was had been irrevocably altered. She could only hope that, in time, she would find a way to piece together the fragments of her shattered identity. Story twist. The doctor never warned her. The unseen darkness. When Rachel first started experiencing severe fatigue and joint pain, she assumed it was just the toll of her grueling job as a paramedic. The long hours and physical demands were enough to wear anyone down. Other symptoms began to emerge. Unexplained bruises, a persistent cough, and a fever that wouldn't break. Concerned, she made an appointment with Dr. Michaels, her trusted family physician. Dr. Michaels was a kindly, older man with decades of experience. He ran a series of tests and assured Rachel that there was nothing seriously wrong. "You're just run down," he said. "Take some time off work, get plenty of rest, and you'll feel better in no time." Rachel followed his advice, but her condition only worsened. The fatigue became debilitating, and she started losing weight rapidly. Her hair began to thin, and her skin took on a pale, almost translucent quality. Desperate for answers, she returned to Dr. Michaels, who remained dismissive. "It's probably just stress," he insisted. "We'll run some more tests, but I'm sure it's nothing serious." The new test came back inconclusive, and Dr. Michaels prescribed a regimen of vitamins and iron supplements. Rachel tried to carry on with her life, but her symptoms continued to escalate. She developed strange, dark spots on her skin and began experiencing frequent nosebleeds. Her friends and family grew increasingly worried, urging her to seek a second opinion. Feeling betrayed by Dr. Michael's indifference, Rachel visited a specialist in hematology. Dr. Patel conducted a thorough examination and immediately ordered a comprehensive blood panel. Rachel's white blood cell count was dangerously low, and her red blood cells were malformed. Dr. Patel suspected a serious underlying condition and admitted her to the hospital for further testing. Within days, Rachel was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of leukemia. The news was devastating. She had trusted Dr. Michaels, and his failure to identify her condition in its early stages had allowed the disease to progress unchecked. Rachel began a rigorous treatment plan, including chemotherapy and radiation, but the prognosis was grim. As she endured the harrowing side effects of treatment, Rachel couldn't shake the anger she felt toward Dr. Michaels. She decided to confront him, hoping for some semblance of closure. When she walked into his office, he seemed genuinely shocked by her appearance. Gone was the vibrant, healthy woman he had last seen. In her place was a frail shadow of her former son. "Rachel, what happened?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. "You happened," she replied bitterly. "You ignored my symptoms, dismissed my concerns, and now I'm fighting for my life." Dr. Michaels looked stricken. He tried to apologize, but Rachel couldn't bear to hear his excuses. She left his office, vowing never to trust a doctor so blindly again. Despite the aggressive treatment, Rachel's condition continued to deteriorate. The leukemia had spread to her organs, and her body was failing. She spent her final days surrounded by loved ones, trying to make peace with the injustice she had suffered. After Rachel passed away, her family filed a lawsuit against Dr. Michaels. The case drew attention to the importance of thorough diagnostics and the dangers of medical complacency. While the lawsuit couldn't bring Rachel back, it served as a wake-up call to the medical community and a reminder that patients' concerns should never be taken lightly. Rachel's story became a cautionary tale, highlighting the critical need for doctors to listen to their patients and investigate symptoms thoroughly. Her legacy lived on, inspiring others to advocate for their health and demand the care they deserve. Story 3. The doctor never warned her the hidden illness. Laura had always been a healthy, active woman. She loved hiking, running, and participating in local charity races. But shortly after her 35th birthday, she began experiencing bouts of dizziness and shortness of breath. At first, she thought it was just a sign of getting older, but when she started having chest pains, she knew something was seriously wrong. She made an appointment with Dr. Harris, a highly recommended cardiologist. Dr. Harris ran several tests, including an EKG and a stress test, but found nothing abnormal. "Your heart is in excellent condition," he told her with a reassuring smile. "It's probably just anxiety. Try to relax and take it easy." Laura was relieved but still concerned. Her symptoms persisted, and she started experiencing episodes of extreme fatigue. Even simple tasks like climbing stairs left her feeling exhausted. She returned to Dr. Harris, who remained unconvinced that anything was wrong with her heart. He suggested she see a psychologist, suspecting her symptoms might be psychosomatic. Feeling frustrated and unheard, Laura decided to seek a second opinion. She visited Dr. Nguyen, an internist known for her thorough approach. Dr. Nguyen listened carefully to Laura's history and ordered a comprehensive set of tests, including blood work, imaging, and a sleep study. The results were startling. Laura was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease that was attacking her lungs and heart. The disease, which had been progressing silently, was now in an advanced stage. Dr. Knight immediately referred her to a specialist for treatment, but the prognosis was uncertain. Laura began a grueling treatment regimen, including high doses of immunosuppressants and corticosteroids. The side effects were brutal. She lost her hair, her skin became thin and fragile, and she was constantly nauseous. Despite the aggressive treatment, her condition continued to worsen. One day, while reflecting on her journey, Laura decided to confront Dr. Harris. She needed him to understand the impact of his dismissal on her life. When she walked into his office, he barely recognized her. The vibrant, energetic woman he had seen months ago was now a shadow of her former self. "Dr. Harris, you were wrong," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "You ignored my symptoms and brushed me off as anxious. Because of you, I lost precious time that could have been spent treating my disease." Dr. Harris was visibly shaken. He apologized profusely, admitting that he had underestimated the severity of her symptoms. He promised to learn from his mistake and to listen more carefully to his patients in the future. But for Laura, the damage was already done. As her condition continued to deteriorate, Laura decided to share her story publicly. She wrote a heartfelt blog detailing her experience, hoping to raise awareness about the importance of thorough medical evaluations and the need for patients to advocate for themselves. Her blog quickly gained a following, with many readers sharing their own stories of medical misdiagnosis and dismissal. Laura's message resonated with people around the world, inspiring them to take control of their health and to demand better care. In her final months, Laura found solace in knowing that her story was making a difference. She passed away peacefully, surrounded by family and friends who admired her strength and courage. Laura's legacy lived on through her blog and the countless lives she touched. Her story became a beacon of hope for others facing similar struggles, reminding them that their voices mattered and that they deserved to be heard.